It's time for AggroChat, the official podcast of the Tales of the Aggronaut blog and stalwart gaming community, where we talk about stuff and things, and the stuff about the things, and sometimes gaming. I'm Belghast, and let's start the show. Hey folks, it's that time again. Time for another episode of AggroChat. This is episode 569. Tonight I'm joined by Ace.
Hello.
Ammo.
Hello.
Ashgar.
Hello.
Kodra.
Greetings.
Tam.
Hello.
And Thalen will be rolling in later. We've got a pretty stacked list of topics, so we'll roll on through Xenogears, and it still holds up.
Like shockingly. So I've talked a bit about the getting the Anthor working, and I did finally get it working, and like it works great. Like now that I've gotten it all configured, it's great. I love this thing. It like was a journey getting there, but we got there. And then I've been out for a bit, and while I was out, I was like, what if I just didn't bring a computer on vacation and didn't even bring the Steam Deck, and I just brought this, and it resulted in me just playing Xenogears. And like Xenogears was what, 97?
Yes.
Something like that. Yeah.
Around then.
Like it's like the early 98. It's in that window of poorly translated JRPGs that are nonetheless iconic.
There were a few of those, yes.
Yeah.
And I think this has the best translation of any of them.
I think this was also a case of it was like one guy in a big time crunch. And it's amazing how coherent the game really is.
Yeah, like, yes. That's I think the thing that really got me. Like there's a bunch of details that I definitely didn't get in 1998 when I played it as a kid. But like it is really cool. It does some incredible things. The thing that I had remembered that the game was beautiful, but I couldn't really remember why. And like years and a career in, a multi-year career in game development later, I can actually like put words to it. So Xenogears does this thing where it's got these beautiful 2D sprites on a 3D isometric like play space. It's really, really reminiscent of like Octopath Traveler as far as the visuals, just obviously a much older version, except that you can rotate it in like 45-degree angle. You can rotate the camera in 45-degree angle increments to just like look around and see stuff. And it does mean that you run into camera problems sometimes, but again, it doesn't matter that much. But what it does do is every so often it will pull control from the camera and just give you a shot that's gorgeous. And it does an incredible job with this of just like giving you this sense of scale and the spaces, making the spaces that you're in feel like real spaces that you can look around in and want to look around in, and there's stuff to find. It's got a much more reasonable difficulty curve than I remembered. But I think the best thing is that the translation shockingly holds up, and it's got a coherent but complicated story. Because like you're trying to figure out what's going on, and you're getting these kind of snippets and glimpses into like 4 or 5 hostile factions that are all plotting against one another and you, and like figuring out who they are and who people are working for and what they're doing and what their motivations are is like, it's like an intentionally complex knot to untangle. But yeah, it's really good. It's so fun to just the on foot and in mechs combat. Like they're both similar but different, and they're both really fun and cool. I have completely broken the game over my knee if I decide to. There's an item that the game is like, you can't afford this, that you can theoretically buy. And by the time you go back to the place where you can buy it, it's not there anymore for like plot reasons. But if you can get the money,
There are a lot of games around that era that did that.
oh yeah,
Yep.
if you can get the money and go to Nissan, deeply, deeply out of your way, and buy an ether doubler. Ether doubler is a very simple tool. Double your MP cost, double your effect. I don't know if this stacks. It might stack. It doesn't matter if it stacks. Once is enough. It's a whole time. It also works both on foot and in mechs. So like, boy, you could just do things to people. And it makes a couple of characters, but one notable character just like bonkers strong. I also forgot how much I like the way combat works. Like you gain they're called death blows, but they're like they're like fighting game style button combos. And I did not understand this system when I was playing the game originally, so I didn't have very many of them. But I understand the system now and unlocked all of them sooner than the game would anticipate. And boy, are you very strong if you get Xenogears Death Blows early. But yeah, the game is beautiful. The music is still fantastic. I'm like really into the plot. It's not very grindy. Like I've done some grinding because I'm doing sicko things, but like I definitely don't have to. But yeah, it was really it's really fun. I haven't quite gotten to disc 2 yet. I'm at the Tower of Babel. But
I really love the Xeno games, and I started replaying this like a little while ago, and I haven't gotten that far, but just the whole experience with like the music and the characters it's still so good.
I've always had a hard time getting into the other Xeno games because they don't feel like they're building off of this one. And this was like my first entry into them. Like they're all good. Like I like the Xenoblade Chronicles games I've really enjoyed. Man, I would love a Xenogears remake.
Oh, absolutely.
Or even just Xenogears 2.
Yeah, the Xeno games as a whole are kind of tricky because they're not necessarily like sequels, but they're still related to each other and they borrow and swap ideas. So if you want like a Xenogears again, you don't really get that, or Xenogears Part 2, but man, I would absolutely love more with that setting for sure.
Yeah.
And most of the games are secretly about giant robots instead of straightforwardly about giant robots.
Yes.
Like my hot take is that there were a lot of really, really good video game villains coming out of that JRPG era. And off the cuff, I will say that Sephiroth is one of the best, but I actually think it is better.
Agree.
It is scary.
Dead as disco.
I have no idea where I first saw this come to my attention.
It was Thalen.
Okay. And I was intrigued. And then I was hooked. So I am not great at beat 'em ups and sort of okay at rhythm games. And I think, as I said in our group chat, this game makes me feel like I could fight God. It is a beat 'em up rhythm game. So you are listening to the music and you are timing your attacks to the beat, and it feels extremely good. It is stylish as hell, and it's just a blast. Your character is back from the dead. While you were dead, your bandmates all sold out, and so now you are back for revenge against all of those sellout former bandmates.
Amazing.
It's so good. The music is great. There's some recognizable tracks, and then there's some as they call them, stream safe tracks. But it's just a blast. And I think the thing that really makes it work for me as someone who is mediocre at best at both genres this game is in is I think, unlike a lot of rhythm games that I have tried, this game does not always make you feel miserable when you don't get something perfect. If you are attacking somebody and you're a little bit off the beat, it doesn't yell at you, it doesn't screw you over, it just doesn't do as much damage, or it doesn't do the cool move that it would do if you had executed perfectly. And so it means that in my mediocrity, I can keep trying. And then occasionally when I do hit something perfectly, it feels amazing. But it's not completely ruining my run if I, miss something here or there, which I greatly appreciate. But the just all of the points for style for this game, seriously, it's absolute perfection on that front, and incredible fun.
That sounds like I had not heard of this game.
Yeah, I haven't actually gotten to play it yet. I just saw it and was like, this looks like exactly what I want to play. It basically looks like Hi-Fi Rush meets Yakuza.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which, yes, absolutely, please.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. I am really interested to hear your thoughts once you get a chance to mess with it, because, yeah, just I don't know it. I don't have anything negative to say about it. It's amazing.
Pokemon Violet.
So my daughter has now, alongside me, beaten 2 Pokemon games.
Nice.
And so I was like, well, I need to keep this rolling because she's teaching herself to read with these. So I picked up Pokemon Violet because it's the most recent one that's out. And I feel like I'd heard a bunch of like back and forth about it, but not really paid too close attention. I really like this game. It feels like they're branching out a bit from the like standard model.
Most of the negative things people had to say about this game had to do with its performance,
Yeah.
which was awful on launch.
It's totally fair. Like, I don't know anything about it on launch. I'm playing it on a Switch 2.
Yep, you've got 2 benefits there.
Like, it
Time and technology.
yeah, it looks great. It runs wonderfully. I have no complaints about its performance. And it feels like it feels like they're actually pulling more and more from the side games that they do that are like doing interesting things into a mainline game, and I think it's great. Like, there's so many little quality of life things in just the way the game plays. Because the last time I seriously played a Pokemon game, it was still, they were much nicer looking, but they were still the,
Get
fixed
into
camera
random battles.
well, fixed camera, isometric, get into random battles by walking through the tall grass, walk to a Pokemon Center if you want to change your party.
AKA red or blue, but just prettier.
Yeah,
I mean,
like,
they continued like this up until X and Y, basically.
yeah, and I think the last one that I played meaningfully were X and Y.
Sword and Shield were still a lot like that. They did an experiment thing with the wild area, and that turned into Legends Arceus, and then that things from that game came into this one.
Yeah, and that's where it feels like, because I turns out I do own Sword, and I didn't actually play almost any of it. And I only know this because when I was looking through my game, my kid saw it and was like, "Daddy, what's that?" So I took a look at it and I was like, "Oh, I didn't get very far in this game." but just the I am moving around a more I feel much more feels like so much more freedom of movement, which makes the world feel bigger. And then also just like running around the world with like actual Pokemon in the actual space is really cool. Especially because I have the hey Pokemon, hey lead Pokemon, go out and do your thing button that I can press that's like the Pokemon equivalent of the fun button in Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, Arceus was the first game to do that, and
Yeah.
it's appreciated.
It's really
This game
nice.
also, because of the Team Star battles, puts significantly more emphasis on that mechanic.
Yeah, it works really, really well. And it's just like, because there's a lot of like, hey, you need to just battle some stuff and get XP. And that's kind of a drag, and like kind of always has been kind of a drag. And this is just like, I don't know, while I'm walking around, I get a Pokemon that's good at this area, and just jam on the button a bit, and they'll blow stuff up and get some levels. I don't have to like.
It's worth noting it's a lot less XP for this.
It's a lot less XP, but it's also not, me sitting through a screen phase.
Two different loading screens.
Yeah, I'm not sitting through two different loading screens and mashing through like text that I've seen a million times over and over and over again. Like it just smooths the whole thing out. Like, yeah, it's less XP, but like it's better. It feels like better XP per time.
If I remember correctly, it is better XP per time.
I mean, it's like 2 seconds where they walk over, beat something up, and get a hit of XP for it, and you could take out like 10 things in like 10 or 15 seconds if you are in a good space for it. So it feels right, or it feels like it's fast, but it's just letting me cut out boring parts of the game and focus on stuff that I actually think is cool. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun rolling through it with my kid, and it doesn't hurt that it's very like Spain coded.
Yes.
So this week, Ace convinced me to play Subnautica 2, and we played as a group, and it was pretty fun.
It was fun. So first, I think before we dig into multiplayer, I have to update my comments from last week because I was extremely unhappy at the lack of PDA pause in the game. And so I had barely played it at the time we recorded last week and was very sad about it. And I am still mad at the lack of PDA pause, but there are some other things in the game that help mitigate it. So it is slightly less miserable than I thought it was going to be, but I still would happily turn PDA pause on if it existed. But have been playing quite a bit of it, building interesting bases and exploring and just enjoying it. And I think I'm not sure that I quite like it as much as the first game. The jury is still out. It's way prettier, and there's a lot of quality of life that is better. But there's a lot of direction in terms of story. It feels a little bit less like I'm just wandering vaguely around searching for bits of things to scan so I can build new stuff, and more that I'm being sort of herded in various directions. And that's not as good, but there are also some freaking amazing moments. The fauna has behavior that feels much more real, which is very cool, except that the predators are all very horrible and much more of a nuisance than they were in the first game. And but I encountered the collector leviathan. It's the first real leviathan class creature that I ran into, and it feels dangerous. Like, it feels like that thing is stalking you. And I've famously said that there's nothing scary about Subnautica games for me, and that's still mostly true. But I definitely felt like prey in front of this thing, but was extremely cool.
I
So
I did a good job of mitigating my fear of the deep
I
by
was very
swimming
proud.
around.
But yeah, so yeah, I conned Belle into joining me, and we had a really good time. It just kind of worked.
Yeah, the only negative is like all of the story is delivered non sequitur. When one person finds something, it starts playing for both of you. So you don't always know the context of which the clip is in.
Yeah, we are bad at staying together to do a thing, and we'll just
Oops.
run off and do our own thing and gather resources and ooh, what's that over there? And but it means that anytime one or the other of us click on something, suddenly there's a voice log playing, and it's like, oh, where's that? What's happening?
But like the benefit of like us roaming around aimlessly is we were able to gather materials so much faster.
Yeah,
We have a
yeah, it
lot of
was.
materials.
Yeah, we managed in a relatively short amount of time to get a pretty decent first base set up, and yeah, get most of the you know various pieces of technology that we're gonna need for a while.
Yeah, we
So
speed ran the tech tree. Like it
yeah,
it went real fast. Like silver was the only thing that took a while to find.
which is frustrating because I had been playing it already and knew where it was, but just was unable to move in the right direction to find it. We got there eventually. But it was also cool because while we were just messing around and exploring, I found stuff that I had not seen in my initial playthrough and had to make myself go back in my solo run and like find those things because one of the uh, one of the mechanics, I guess, this time around is that you are getting all these gene mods, so it helps you resist the pressure and it helps you eat weird fish on a weird alien planet without dying.
Yes, we're
And
related to alien eggplants.
Aha.
but it means that occasionally you're swimming around and you find a base that was left behind from other folks from your ship, and there'll be a biobed that will give you something. A lot of times it expands your inventory, like makes you stronger so you can carry more stuff. And yeah, one that expanded my hot bar, which was pretty sweet. So yeah, just
I like that it mostly gives both of us the things when one of us finds it.
yeah, I think the biobeds, I don't remember if that did, but all of the sort of quest point stuff did. Um, and I just like that it's an extra really nice reward for doing some extra exploration if you find these little places. And there's a lot of story.
There's a ton of caves and stuff that I just didn't have enough oxygen to really explore. Like even in the starting area, there was a ton of that sort of stuff going on.
Yeah. And there's currents that'll move you around and
Yeah, the first time I ran into one of those, it kind of freaked me out. It's like, oops, I am way down below the ground now.
But yeah, I am looking forward to continuing to mess around in tandem. I can't wait until we can have a tadpole and drive around. I promised Bell that he can stay safely inside the tadpole and I'll hang on to the outside.
Side note, I am definitely afraid of dark water. Like it terrifies me.
Like, one of the most terrifying experiences was when we were in Mexico in a submarine, and we went to the continental shelf, and you could just see forever off the edge of the shelf. So yeah, like this is me working through my fears.
Yeah, I don't know how things will go as we get further into the game, but we'll see.
Yeah, I made it basically in the first game until I got to the first area with Leviathans and just noped out.
Yeah, I have a suspicion that might happen here too, because this game is also even more atmospheric than the first one. Like, as you get into deep water, like the water visually gets hazier. Um, you go into areas where there are like hydrothermal vents, and you can see the waviness of the heat in the water, and like it's extremely cool. Um, but yeah, might not be great if you have a fear of
But
deep
you'll be
water.
here to hold my hand. Like, it'll be fine.
I will. And it's really fun to play together, and it was just extremely seamless to set up and get going. So I was pretty happy about that. And it did actually, like, I started a brand new game, and it did start us both right together at the very beginning of the tutorial. So it wasn't, nobody had to miss anything by being in the other person's game.
Yeah, it was great. So PoE 2 is coming, and I have mostly stopped playing Diablo 4. But in the meantime, I am back in PoE 1 playing my minions character, and I don't remember if I actually talked about this build
You did.
on the show. Yeah. Like, it works extremely well. It is way more tanky than I thought it was. And it's also silly that I'm summoning roughly 60 minions and just rolling over top of everything in Delve. And new thing that I've learned is this thing melts Delve bosses like they don't even exist. So I am definitely trying to get into a minion mindset, because when PoE 2 launches 0.5.0 on Friday of next week, I am probably going to go minions so that I can eventually transition to the Raven RF staff.
Okay, so how are you going minions with this Raven RF stuff?
Infernalist Witch.
Infernalist Witch.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Why Infernalist?
The bonus minion. You get the Hellhound, and there's some other benefits to minion damage. Because I'm planning on going SRS, which is fire-based minion.
Sure.
So it has some fire shenanigans as well. So yeah,
they buffed it since the initial. Like, previously, Infernalist was good because minions were a nice way to avoid dealing with PoE 2's launch stuff.
Minions have gotten some minor buffs in the tree.
It's more like I thought the Infernalist actual tree was kind of bad.
Yeah, that's kind of where my head's at.
Like, the Hellhound was not very good, except for it guaranteeing you damage reduction, and that was the first thing they nerfed.
I don't know. The Lich didn't seem like it was any better. So I mean,
I don't disagree.
I was gonna go Witch, just because Witch starts in the correct area for minions, and I don't have to path forever to get to it.
I mean, so does Oracle.
Why would I do Minion Oracle?
Because you get a couple more minion nodes by walking the unseen paths. Like, I don't know. I haven't looked enough at Infernalist. Like, my hot take is, right now, the best minion build is really hard to do with minions, and it's Tactician. I don't know how Tactician's 25% of weapon damage gets applied to minions would work with the Flock of Crows. But, like, that does seem potentially funny. I am going to be doing something different, though. I'm going companions, not minions. And I'm going to be trying the Spirit Walker thing. Because Tactician says 25% of your weapons damage gets applied to your minions. Spirit Walker says 60% of your weapons damage gets applied to companions. And apparently you can have Wolfpack. It counts as one companion, but there's can have up to 8 of them. So that seems pretty good, having 8 companions, well, probably 9 companions, that all get 60% of my main hand's weapon damage, which then makes me ask, okay, what type of weapon do I want? And right now, I'm really curious. So I know people have been talking about swords. Are swords actually in, or is that just people talking?
That was just people talking. They are not in, and they won't be in until 1.0.
Okay. I will be curious to see what swords are in 1.0. Right now, I'm like, do I actually just go back to Talisman? Because Talisman's how I get the most possible damage to apply out to my companion army. And also, I get access to the Werewolf Howl, which also buffs nearby allies with more cold damage. So I'm really tempted to do yet another werewolf, but this one isn't going to be using Pounce because I don't want any minions. I only want companions because there are nodes that say that buff you if you don't have any non-companion minions.
So you're gonna pick up the bear and the freebie minions that you can get from the tree.
Freebie companions, do those not still count against your companion limit?
No, they don't.
Oh,
they're just bonus companions. Yeah.
Oh, I misunderstood that.
Yeah,
okay, then yes, I will be doing this.
Yeah, all of those animal nodes count as companions, but don't count towards your companion limit.
So do we actually know what nodes are what on there?
I don't know that we have the tree yet.
See, we don't have the tree. We also don't have the new passive tree, which already they've said there's like 19 new companion nodes on the passive tree, which I'm guessing are over in Spirit Walker's area.
I assume, yeah.
But like, so part of me is like, yes, let's go werewolf just so that I have a good howl and I can buff my minion army. And then I guess I can also, because you can also use Tame Beast, right? That's another companion skill I can have. So I can have 2 hunted companions, a bear, and then a bunch of wolves. This seems like a perfectly reasonable thing to be doing.
Do the wolves count as companions?
Wolf pack wolves are one companion, count as one companion, even though there are multiple of them.
Okay.
So for the purposes of companion limit, having wolf pack allocated is one companion. And then So the other thing is, it would be nice to be like the other option is spear is good, but spears don't have enough damage on them. Like the spear bases do not have great damage stats on them. So that's why I'm kind of like, I think I would rather use a talisman.
So I brought up the Infernalist tree, and one of the main reasons why I've gone Infernalist previously is Altered Flesh, the 20% of cold damage taken as fire, 20% of lightning damage taken as fire, 20% of physical damage taken as chaos. Just to have some splitting of damage sources so that I can dilute the damage multiple ways. And there's also a node that like all allies contribute to flammability night magnitudes, which is pretty good.
That was added after 1.0.
Yeah, it was. There's some stuff for what I'm trying to do, which is mostly fire minions.
Yeah, but you can't make your Well, is there supports that you can apply to your ravens to get them to?
No, they won't be fire. They'll be
fizz.
Half fizz, half chaos.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like I said, this is not that uncommon from PoE1 to have this type of damage.
Yeah. PoE1 though gives you plenty of ways to get that all the way up to 100% of one type or another.
Yes.
Yeah, and we can't support. I don't think. I don't remember. Can you?
You could absolutely support. You could
support weapon grant skills.
Okay, yeah. So I can convert the damage to fire. I mean, there's enough supports that I could convert it to fire. The other thing that like I'm really wanting to try SRS this time is melee splash has traditionally been the thing that made SRS feel good, and we're just now getting it. Like we did not have it at launch, we did not have it in any of the other patches, but we now have melee splash support. So clear will be significantly better than it ever was. But I mean, I might have to respec once I go Raven RF. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I figure SRS is kind of dead easy to level as, and it's pretty good in early maps. So I can at least acquire some currency.
I am wanting to play this league. I am, as I said, planning on doing this whole Spirit Walker companion thing. I am really not excited about being in the part of the tree that only really puts like emphasis on evasion as a defense, when it does not necessarily feel like this is a game where evasion is a good defense.
Supposedly deflection has been buffed a lot.
Okay.
So I think if you want to try it, you should be able to go pure evasion deflection.
Interesting.
And then also you'll have the benefit of runic ward on all your gear through the rune forging thing from this league, which is basically like an extra, like once you deplete your life, it's like an extra life bar.
Okay.
But it goes pretty quickly because, like, I mean, it's, you can't really do anything to it, but I don't know how much you'll be able to stack, but you'll be able to gain a little bit from every piece of gear. So in theory, that should be like a, especially for an evasion build where you're only really worried about one hit that got through, that might be good enough once you factor in deflection to make up for the fact that, you know, eventually you're going to get hit. Like, like energy shield ate a bunch of nerfs.
Oh, that's probably, I mean, other than the fact that that was how anyone survived in this game, it was overpowered.
Right. And supposedly they've buffed all the bases so that they provide more armor, energy shield, evasion, etc. on their own. So I don't like, it's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out. One of the things that they specifically were wanting to tune that was not good was armor and ES. So all the armor ES bases. So we'll see what shook out of that as well. I don't like, so much stuff has changed that it's going to be a wild experience to level through it.
I'm sure that I will once again require assistance on the end of Act 1 boss and then nowhere else, because that's the hardest part of the game.
It is. Either you just stomp that boss or it is the hardest thing in the world.
Like, nothing else in the game is as hard as the Act 1 boss, which is definitely where your hardest encounter in the game should be.
Maybe someday.
I don't know. For me, usually Jamonra is harder than Geonor.
Apparently, they're also trying to make the act leveling faster.
Yeah, so the Dreadnought only has one level now. So you don't have two Dreadnought levels that you have to go through. It'll be interesting to see how that all shakes out. Act 2 was definitely the longest. It felt it, at least. They also made a bunch of, like, just quality of life changes. So when you're in the zone with all the water gates that you have to open up, they're now apparently just pressure plates that you walk over and it opens up. So you don't have to actually stop and click and wait for the animation. Definitely interested to see how this works. And hopefully it's fun. 0 parades for dead spies. What is this game?
And an incredible title. So I have talked a lot about Disco Elysium. It is an incredible game. Everyone should play it, or at least give it a go. And post Disco Elysium has had some acrimony between the directors of that project and their publisher. And there's a lot of like games that are positioning themselves as spiritual successors to Disco Elysium. 0 Parades is the one built by what remains of the Disco Elysium team, sans like 3 of the major leadership, plus whoever they took. I don't know exactly how much of that team remains, but I've had this ongoing thing where games are not made by their directors. And like, I don't know, I've read all of the stuff about what's going on between Zalm and the former like Disco Elysium team leadership. And like, it sucks. It's bad. But I've also been wondering, like, hey, what's everybody else doing? Turns out they were making this game. And this game has the juice. Like, it has the soul of Disco Elysium in it. it's very clearly a team that's learned from their experiences and is both doing some refining and also trying new things. And I think it's really cool to see. The dialogue is amazing. Like, the writing in Disco Elysium was superb, and this is just as good. In some ways, I actually like it better, but I think it's just I like the theme a little bit better. In Zero Parades, you are a spy, specifically a spy that is kind of a spy that's been put on ice because a mission went bad, like real bad. And so you've been kind of shoveled off to the side until it's time for you to get reactivated. And that is not going well. And it's got that same vibe of like, you are an agent but also a mess. But you're a different kind of mess. Like, in Disco Elysium, you play as Harry, and Harry is a
barely functional human
human cop. And you, in this one, you're playing, I am gonna forget her name because it doesn't come up super often. I don't remember her actual name. She's Cascade is her code name. But she's also a mess, but like for totally different reasons and in totally different ways, and is like it's genuinely funny and interesting, and I'm curious where we're going. I'm not sure if it's set in the same world as Disco Elysium, but it sure is set in a world that is made from the same vibes. Like, it's a whole, like, Disco Elysium occurs in this extremely weird alt universe, and this one also seems to exist in an alt universe, but I don't think I'm not clear if it's the same one. I don't think it is.
I mean, it could be a scenario like all of the Control and Max Payne and
it's
all of those games technically exist in the same universe, but they all have licenses spread out, so they can't actually exist in the same universe.
Yeah, like, I would believe that this is a different part of the Disco Elysium world, although there are some things that are like fundamentally different, but it uses it as just it uses it to be like, to make different kinds of commentary. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm a communist spy just kind of by default. And like, it's interesting. It's so fascinating. I'm so interested to see where this goes. It is a game that I think only this team could have made in this way, because oh boy, is it about what do you do when the leader, what do you do when you can't trust leadership, the authority, and also your own leadership, and your own leadership is jerking you around, but you still have to make it day by day. And boy, does that feel like, at least from my outside perspective, what it's got to feel like to be hanging around after everything that happened with Disco Elysium. And so it's got this real rawness to it. I think the writing is sharper, because you're like, Harry is a mess, is like a kind of incoherent mess. And Cascade is not. She's a mess, but like, again, for different reasons and in different ways, and is at the core a very competent person, just a person whose belief in their own competence is kind of a mess, and also whose competence is in like these super, super narrow like spycraft things that aren't necessarily like helpful when you're talking to teenagers about music. It's fantastic cast of characters. The voice acting is good. Like, it's genuinely made me laugh out loud a couple of times. It's got some great dialogue. At one point you can read your own dossier, and as it's going through, it's like sexuality, homosexual tendencies, unconfirmed, and your dialogue options are confirmed or various other things. But I had a really good laugh at that. And then also a line that hit me like a truck. You do the honest thing. Nothing changes in the world.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Like it's got a bunch of things to say. I'm having a great time just like unpacking everything it's doing. I think I like the like Disco Elysium was a little bit cleaner in its mechanics. There's a couple of things that I'm like, I feel stuck here because I don't know how to. I haven't explored deeply enough, which is really the problem. But also there's more like game mechanics. Like you have pools that you can your skills all have associated pools, and you can manage your fatigue, anxiety, and delirium. And like when you run into stressful situations, your anxiety ramps up. These are basically hit point pools. If they max out, like you pick a skill to downgrade a level from that type and reset your whatever the pool is. But also,
is that permanent or just temporary?
Oh, that's permanent. I mean, you can get XP and level it back up, but yeah, like it's much more interesting than the I have two pools and if either of them hits 0, it's game over. It's like you could crash through that pool and it's not game over, and like you have as a result you have a lot more like tools to manage those pools than you ever did in Disco Elysium. And so like and so it's a thing, especially because one of the main ways you can push those pools is almost all of your die rolls are 2d6 looking for a number, but you can exert to roll 3d6 and keep highest 2, and that the cost to doing that is pushing your pool. There's also weird stuff that you can do because your pools have a threshold that's basically like the danger zone, and there's some stuff that's like, hey, if your pool's in the danger zone, you get some kind of bonus. When my delirium was in the danger zone, my what did they call it? I forget what it's the new equivalent of Inland Empire, but it's your ability to detect spooky action at a distance. But yeah, it's really good. I'm having a ton of fun with it. Just great writing, great setting. If your issue with Disco Elysium is, man, I don't really want to play a cop dude, then this is worth a look because it's a very different character, and I think she's really neat.
Eclipse Phase 2nd Edition.
So we got to play Eclipse Phase. Ashgar ran a game for us today. It is a TTRPG, and my biggest pitch on it is my new favorite way. Well, maybe not my favorite way, but a new way of playing a game that is like Shadowrun, both thematically and structurally, or at least Shadowrun 5th edition, I want to say, while also not having a lot of the problems that Shadowrun does. The pitch is 10 years ago, it's the far future. Transhumanity is here. We are able to imprint our minds into cortical stacks, and like a brain is something that can be copied and forked into other bodies that can be constructed for the purpose of humanity's minds to inhabit. Like, do you want to like take your character and make 2 of them? Absolutely. That is a thing you can do. Were you born a human but really want to be a bird? Absolutely. That's a thing you do. Do you want to be a digital consciousness piloting 5 drones? Absolutely. That's a thing you can do.
So this is the system you use to play a game set in the culture. Is what I'm hearing.
I'm not familiar with this. What is the culture?
The culture is Ian Banks's science fiction series, mostly set at the borders of the culture. The culture itself is a post-scarcity communist transhumanist utopia overseen by massive AIs.
Ooh, strong word, utopia. So 10 years ago, the fall happened.
Oh no.
This one
And
is more post-apoc than anything else.
this is transhumanism post-apoc.
I enjoyed the chapter of the book titled Slouching Towards Singularity.
Well, the thing about an actual utopia is it's real boring, which is why none of the culture novels actually take place within the culture.
Yeah, like Earth is big. Well, so what was it? There was a artificial super intelligence that all of the hyper capitalist hyper corporations were like fighting over creating, and then they also created like humanity destroying items known as the Titans. And yeah, Earth's gone now.
It's not exactly gone, but it's been walled off, as it were.
It's not a place you want to be.
It's not a place you want to be. And then, like, my character in this game, I was playing one of the Lost, which is we're after the fall, there was a deficit of humans to keep transhumanity society running. So the problem with creating new humans traditionally is they have this baby phase where they're not really useful. And this is very inefficient from a corporate standpoint. So what if you just created a whole bunch of like people in their 20s and denied them all childhood and were like, yep, you're ready to go to work for us now. Also, they have psychic powers as a result of like a horrible infection that causes them to all have deep-seated mental trauma. So, like,
oh boy,
yeah, this is the kind of game we're playing here. But the like character creation. This is what some of the most fun I've had in character creation in a really long time. And like, this is also a thing that I loved about Shadowrun. I loved making characters in Shadowrun, and then I had to play Shadowrun, and that was terrible. It's like I spend all of this time like figuring out what is my character going to look like, and I take one hit from a sniper rifle and they're dead. And that's it. Whereas in this game, you take one hit from a sniper rifle and your morph, the body you inhabit, is probably dead. But you know what? That's okay. Your cortical stack is still there, just slotted into a new morph.
Yeah, you can just make a new one.
Yeah.
Also, there are bodies that you can have that will take that sniper hit and not really be too upset about it.
Makes sense.
And also a few specific ones that can dodge the sniper bullet.
Which is awesome.
The average body cannot do a ton about getting shot by a weapon. But you can build that way if you really want to.
Yeah, I made the comment. Made the comment to Kodra and Ash that I like. There's a bunch of interesting kind of transhuman and similar RPGs, but what I really like about this one is that it's not cleaving too far in any one direction.
Because there's a furry transhuman game or the tech transhuman game. It's
or the alien transhuman game.
Yeah.
This is like, yeah, you can be any. It was like I was a data construct.
I do think that is a bit of an actual blind spot in character. I mean, it's intentionally so. It is. While you can create a morph that's basically whatever, it can't actually be an alien.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, part of the big thing is it feels like Eclipse Phase is, hey, actually there are aliens and we're not 100% sure what's going on with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
We know how to communicate with them. They seem to have better technology than us and are not telling us how that happened.
The aliens feel alien, not like Star Trek aliens, which I think is interesting.
But yeah, like it's very much set still in the solar system, but like all of the different parts of the solar system have different people like running them. And there's a whole bunch of different philosophical things going on in this game. But I found this system to be both very cool to make interesting characters with, and also playing it was a lot of fun. Yeah. And that's a hard thing to get right.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I was looking at this was like, oh, this game lets you make characters that feel like they would be problems. I kind of want to see what happens. And like, I honestly, my character was fine.
Yeah, I feel like all of our characters were fine. Like, and then there was the pre-con who was just like, I am a parrot with a sniper rifle. And it's like, yeah, those numbers are big enough that it really doesn't matter any of the fancy stuff we're doing. That parrot with a sniper rifle will put a bullet in someone.
Yeah.
I find this character honestly hilarious.
That's a hilarious character.
It's like it's a parrot with superhuman strength
And a sniper rifle.
and a
And
sniper.
a bunch of scouting equipment.
Yup.
Like a bunch of scouting equipment.
Yeah, it was a data construct that did not have I don't have a physical body, but I've got a bunch of drones that go around and do stuff. And like, yes, that means I can be in like 6 different places at once, but actually it's fine. Like that's not that capability is not out of band with what everybody else is capable of doing, and I'm not like uniquely able to solve every problem because of that. And like that's really cool. As a result, I get to be like a distributed AI across a bunch of drones. And like, I don't know, that's really cool to me. It's like that's such a different character than anything I've played anywhere else.
I also appreciate like something I have frequently heard about Shadowrun is how anti-transhuman it is in like, hey,
Yes, it is, and I hate it.
Like, wow, you want to augment your body even a little bit? That sounds like you're becoming not human. You're becoming inhuman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
this game is not that.
Yeah,
It's actually kind of funny. It is definitely saying like transhumanity is sort of the state of being. So whatever you look like, whatever, you're still transhuman. But also there is a category in the enemies list for a group they call ex-humans, which is where you go so far that it is you have passed through the other side.
well, but
But mostly this is like you have become a pile of flesh or something similar.
Yeah, like you've adapted yourself to the point where you can no longer relate to humans.
I mean, that like a big dichotomy in the philosophy is the scum, which is like more and more transhuman, and the bioconservatives.
Yeah, things like this come up in setting.
Which feels like, but it comes up in setting as a factional thing,
Yes.
not as immutable rules. And I think
Correct.
that's a very different kind of commentary.
Yes.
I will say that balancing combat feels like throwing darts at a wall. So running it is a little tricky. But I feel like as I get a better handle of things like what characters are capable of, what enemies are capable of, what numbers look like, that will become less bad. Like I complain a lot about 5e and that challenge rating means nothing, and this game gives you even less than that to go on.
Yes. No, I mean it sounds like basically nightmarish, but also like the structure of the game being, I don't know, maybe it'll just kill you.
That just happens, whatever.
Maybe
it's
that
fine.
just happens. Like
That's not the end of the story.
Right. Like, and that's the thing is it's not even the end of the character.
The hilarious part is even if it was a TPK, that is not the end of the story or the end of those characters. Like in the module we were running, like if everyone dies, the people that were sending you to this planet, like send an extraction drone to find all of your cortical stacks and bring them back.
They send a big expensive robot and they charge you for having them waste the time of this big expensive robot. But hey.
Yeah, but also like it's entirely possible that you could succeed. Like
Yes.
That even if you go in there and you all die, a lot of it's like find out what's over here. Oh, you found out what's over here. It's a thing that killed everybody. Like that's actually useful information. Also, you can like like we can pull all of your fight recording data. That's also useful information. Like it's this the structure is such that it's maybe you do TPK sometimes and like that's okay. It's not the end of the world. It's very hard to actually kill a character to the point where like the game barely even talks about character death as a thing because it's just not interested.
The only ways that characters seem to be able to really die is if the player themselves chooses. I was about to say
that makes sense.
There's a whole section. It's like it's very easy for digital construct to die. It's a simple action to delete yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had fun with this. Had fun running this. I am definitely interested in exploring this system a lot more.
Yeah, same. It's really cool.
one of my favorite lines is one of the factions, a Venusian. You adhere to the Morningstar constellation's vision for a more socialized, friendlier hypercapitalism. I noticed this company is named after Lucifer himself.
Well, you know,
I'm sure it's fine.
Perfectly reasonable. So I have also been playing a pen and paper game, and I know I've talked about it a little bit previously. It's called Public Access. Last month, they had a Kickstarter, and it funded in 5 minutes. So we're playing now on the Kickstarter rules, and it's slightly different. There's been some updates, but this is a game that feels like every single roll deeply matters, because like you're really only rolling when something major is on the line. Because like most of the time when playing this game, you're just role playing your character until you encounter something that, you know, requires rolls, and then there are, you know, successes and partial failures and extreme failures, and what happens as a result can be wildly different, but like those results are oftentimes also interesting. So you have a day phase, you have a night phase. Day phase moves are largely not potentially lethal. Night phase moves, however, there's a lot on the line. So we just played on Friday, but in the time before that, which was several weeks ago, we solved our first mystery, and that was interesting because essentially you have a stack of clues, and you as the players collectively have to figure out how you can use these clues to narrate what was involved with the mystery. So like there's no pat answer to how to solve one of these mysteries. You as the players are basically writing how you solved it. So like, you know, we closed a dimensional gate and it involved blood sacrifice and all sorts of other stuff, but that was our solution to the mystery. Like there could have been a bajillion other different solutions of just someone writing their way into the solution. This last round, we finally have gotten to the point where all of us really click with the system, and we were able to use it to extreme lengths to like basically collect more than enough clues to solve one entire other mystery, and probably half the way to solving the next one. But like the thing that I find really interesting is like all of the moves that characters can get over time. So like I started off with come with me if you want to live. And basically once per game, I can narrate our escape. And if I succeed in the roll, we just get out of whatever we just got into. I basically just have to like narrate my way out of the situation. And like it's really cool, and they're all that way. Like, so one of the other players has who you gonna call, and basically they're a member in good standing on like a paranormal message board, and they can once per game, you know, utilize resources on that board to come up with clues to solve, you know, whatever mystery we're dealing with. I just picked up one called They Think He's a Righteous Dude, where basically like geeks and metalheads and stoners all think I'm cool, so I can utilize them once per game to get, you know, clues on whatever we're doing. So like it's really interesting how this is played out, and it's a wildly different game than anything I've ever played, but like it's purely a role-playing experience, really. Because like you're only really rolling any dice when something serious is on the line. And it also is interesting in the way that like, so when you go to a new location, there's this whole phase called setting the scene, and every player essentially narrates something about the scene, and then that becomes canon for the scene in your location. And like there's certain baked in elements to some of these scenes, but it's just I don't know, like it's the most interesting experience that I've had in a pen and paper game.
That's super.
And I don't know exactly how long we'll end up running. I'm starting to get low on some of the resources, which means I am going to be consistently in more danger because there are certain things called keys that you can turn to essentially undo an interaction. So like if you failed the dice roll, you can, turn a key to either elevate the roll to the next bump. So like if you had a partial fail, you can elevate it to a full success, but you have a very limited number of these keys. And you have them from day one when you start a character, and you are eventually using up your resources as you do them. And I am getting pretty low on my keys, and I'm going to have to start turning the keys that give me negative effects. But you also like pick up conditions. Like right now, my character has the condition short of breath because I was suffocated, and now that's going to hang on with me for however long. And in the case of certain rolls, it will give me a disadvantage so that, I roll 3 dice instead of 2 and then take the 2 lowest.
So is this the sort of system where the assumption is that over time you're going to run yourself out of resources and ultimately drive your character to, insanity or a horrible demise?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's really where we're heading. But apparently there's rules for after you're dead.
I mean, this seems like the sort of setting that makes sense. I mean,
this is very SCP.
There are any number of games where, the most famous being Call of Cthulhu, where your character going insane is like the core element of the game. So
yeah, like one of our characters picked up a child that's a warm orb.
Oh no.
And is protecting it as though it's a child, except for that character picked up the condition Daddy's angry, where the child is noticing when he gets angry at things, and the child gets angry too.
This is fine.
Yeah. So like this is gonna end up horribly, and like we essentially have a mystery going on right now that we are kind of like have on the back burner, but it's essentially La Llorona. And I know eventually drowned kids are going to start showing up. Like that's just a thing that's going to happen. Like, so there's a clock on every one of these mysteries. There's a haunted house that we're exploring. And basically the clock on that is like eventually the person that sent us to investigate it is going to investigate it himself. And apparently we have been told that will cause horrible things. The thing we solved the last time we played before this week, there was a rodeo, and basically, like, if we did not figure out a way to close this portal, like, these Deep Lake Devils would come along and murder everyone at the rodeo. So we did a little human sacrifice to close the portal, which we figured, just one person is better than the entire town. So, but yeah, like it's a really cool setting. Like it's set in 2005, and all the characters grew up at various times in this town and remember this public access station that most of the town doesn't remember, that would show late at night. So kind of like a midnight channel thing.
Uh-huh.
And so like you also find tapes. And when you find a tape, you like have to like sit there and narrate your way through the tape, because you're given certain prompts, but you have it's up to the players to fill in what's on the tape. So yeah, like it's a really interesting experience. Like I highly suggest it if you've got a group that is willing to play a game that is not a hack and slash pen and paper game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I'm having a blast. Like and what's awesome is like you also get to know your players really well, because like I was brand new to this group. So like now I have all these friends that I have made through this game, because you spend a lot of time talking to each other and narrating stuff, for each other in this game. So like it's a heck of an icebreaker.
That sounds really awesome.
Yeah, it does sound really cool.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Doing that at some point.
Yeah, like I highly suggest it. It's a really fun system. And it seems like it's one of those systems that's equally fun for the person running it.
Mm-hmm.
What was the name of it one more time?
Public Access.
Public access.
Yeah,
by Gauntlet Games.
Because I don't have enough tabletop systems that I've, never run.
That is why I was really happy about getting to run Eclipse Phase today, because I read Eclipse Phase back when first edition came out, and I think that was like 15 years ago.
What's really nice about this system is it comes with a lot of digital artifacts. So like there's a Google Sheet that you can clone that has like all the setups for all the stuff, so that we're running it over Discord. So it's super easy for us to do that, and the actions that we take on the various sheets reflect back on everything else. So it's kind of just auto wired to work.
Nice.
I think that might be all our topics. Anybody have any else that's short?
Just real quick. I've been playing more Dune Awakening, and we got our guild aligned with House Atreides, which means that the Landsraad stuff is available now. And the Landsraad missions add so much. Like this is a big thing that the game was missing when it first came out. Like this is good end game content that lets you continue developing your character.
Sweet.
Oh, sweet.
Like I've run 3 sets of them today, because basically there's a bunch of overland areas that they send you to. And when you go to the Landsraad, there's like 5 different types of missions and 3 available of each type. And you can have up to 3 at once. And so each time I picked 3 that took me to the same area and just ran them all. And they have you doing different things, and the rewards are fantastic. Among other things, after running the first set of them, I now have 5 additional inventory slots.
Whoa.
Just from getting the first level of the exploration like subclass, and it goes from there.
Wow.
Yeah. Like this stuff is great.
Dune also has self-hosted servers up now, which I haven't looked too deeply into, but have a bunch of customization stuff that you can do, like configuring the server to do the things that you'd like. And I'm real interested in.
Yeah, because you can turn off base decay, can't you?
I think you can turn off everything decay.
Yeah, I think you can. And like, I think you can just turn off base decay. I'm actually really, really interested in seeing if we can't stand up a server where we just turn off base decay, because I feel like that would be really cool.
Speaking of which, Bel, I didn't get there quite fast enough to save your doors.
Okay.
But your base is still there.
Okay. I need to log in and deal with that, I guess.
It's kind of, like the walls are like super cracked and not great looking, and the doors are gone. But I fed more power cells into it. I think it's got 4 or 5 days worth of shield right now. But yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would love to go, and I would love to set up I would love to play that game and be able to play it at my pace and not. But like it feels like we can now, and I love it. Also, you just don't ever have to. There's no reason to ever do PvP in it. They've removed all of it.
You don't have to anymore. Yeah.
They're like, I guess nobody wants to do that, so we're just gonna not, or we're gonna let people who don't want to do it not ever have to intersect with it.
Because there is a PvP deep desert. If you want to do that, you can go there. But there's also a PvE deep desert, and it's the deep desert. It's fine. I've been flying around it, just harvesting and going and getting deep desert materials to make those final tier armor and weapons and stuff.
Love it.
It works great.
That's so cool.
I guess one other really quick thing, Destiny 2 announced its end, so it is basically a dead in the water game at this point.
I mean, we knew it was coming, and they say they're gonna like keep it playable. So
yeah, they're gonna set up like a rotation to where like once a month is Iron Banner, and all the weeks other than Iron Banner, other things are gonna run. So it's like it's more maintenance mode than anything.
Right.
It's not going away in a fashion like New World is.
Or Anthem.
Yeah. But Anthem stayed up for a really long time, way longer than I realized.
Oh, much longer than I expected. Yeah. No, when the announcement came out that it was shutting down, I was like, didn't that shut down like a year ago? Yeah.
And I guess Marathon is working on some sort of a PvE mode, so that'll be a thing. But like, I just don't know. Like I am deeply concerned about the fate of Bungie as a whole.
One day, people will learn to just start that way.
Yeah.
Hold out
You would
this
think
hope.
that. Maybe someday.
Maybe.
Anyway, anybody have anything else? Okay. Well, hopefully everyone enjoyed the show, and we will see you again next week. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.
See you.